welcome back to today's battle report of On Bloody Ground. Today we're going to be playing the Norman Conquest. A classic matchup today with the Vikings on my side of the table versus the Saxons on the other side. So let's get into the armies and then I can tell you what's going on with the table. So quite a nice and simple force for the Saxons today. On the left there we've got some shells with spears and throwing weapons. We've got 3 units of them, so we've got one in the centre there, or slightly off centre, with another one there with an attached alderman. We've got some basic archers there behind some rough ground, and then we've got 2 units of thanes with light armour, thrust and spears, and some throwing weapons as well. They're just better versions of the shells. They should stand around a bit longer versus the herdmen of the Vikings there. And then if that goes wrong, we've got some Huskarls on top of the hill there with Harold Godwinson. Some of them do have shields, but for today's battle we're going to be using double-handed axes and throwing weapons on them. I've given them the double-handed axes because in this book the Huskarls hit and kill on threes, which is really nice, and the double-handed weapons can crunch through the armour of those Vikings there. So hopefully they're not needed, but if they are, they can get through the armour. On top of all that, we have some slingers on top of the hill there. For this battle, I'm going to say that you can't get up that hill unless you're going up aside this grassy only. So from here, you can't get up. If you move around this side, you can go up there. So those slingers are quite well protected. And then on the side of the Vikings, we have 3 units of herdmen. So there's one there, and then 2 in the centre here. All of them are on the same, so hand weapons, light armour, shields and throwing weapons, 4+. They're just a lot better quality versus the thanes and churls, but obviously they're more expensive, so the units are smaller. In those units, we've got, every single one of them's got berserkers, and then we've got a Godai there, which helps with re-rolling to hit rolls in any initial combat, which is really nice. So obviously the Saxons are really good at holding up, or should be good at holding up attacks, so she helps with keeping them in the fight for longer. And then we've got Harold Hardrada there with his 2 attacks, which is really nice, with a double-handed axe. And then we've got these shield maidens here representing his command points. Next to him we've got the Raven Banner, or actually it's the Army Standard, but he allows the Army Standard to be increase to the Raven Banner, and that just gives the unit +1 combat score. So they're in Bondi, so they're not as good normally, which is why I've put the Army Standard in them, and it also gives them an extra 2 leadership. So they should be staying around just as long as the herdmen, but they might just die a bit quicker. We've also got another unit of archers here. They're exactly the same as the Saxon archers, so either they're going to end up shooting each other or whittling away the units. I'll decide what might be the best choice there. And then the fun unit here is Ulfrdnar, so 18 Ulfrdnar with a Mushroom Berserker. Now he's exactly the same as the normal Berserkers, but he does D6 hits in combat compared to D3. So you just have to get lucky, but he has potential to do quite well. And then we've just got some Javelin men on the side there. So they're the armies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the terrain, what it does in the game, so we know exactly what's going on, and then we'll get into the initiative. Okay, so I have kept terrain quite simple for this game because obviously it speeds the game up slightly. But these pieces of terrain here, so we've got 1, 2, 3. They're going to be rougher today. Now that means, all it means is that it's -1 movement when you go over it, so it's slow. It's going to be slowing down them all for now, but they're light infantry anyway, so they can move 1 inch faster with their manoeuvre. So that kind of negates that bonus, but they're still slightly further up on deployment anyway. So I'm not too worried about that with them. It obviously helps kind of channel in the Viking units, because if they weren't in that open ground, they'd be going really slowly, and then those archers could shoot up the units quite well. We've also got a cornfield here, or say a wheat field, but that's just going to be there for visual effect. It just looks quite nice. We're kind of ignoring that. The hill is elevated. Now that means that when a unit charges up it or charges down it, they either get -1 momentum or +1 momentum if they win, depending on whether they're going up or down. So if we get to that, I'll re-explain that again. But a heal just means that it's harder to win when you fight up it and easier to win when you go down it when you're charging. The woods in the background, they're just going to be there for the visual effect. I've already explained the heal, so it's elevated as well. So if those slingers wanted to shoot across this way, if they were in range or something, they could see over these units as well. Other than that, that's the deployment, and that's the armies. So let's get into initiative and see who is the first player. Okay, so at the start of the game, you have to decide who the first player is, and that's a roll for initiative. Today I'm going to be using the white dice for the Saxons and the black dice for the Vikings. So whoever wins this dice can choose to go first or second. So white for the Saxons, and not a good roll, but the Vikings get to choose. And because they're attacking, they're going to choose to go first. So let's sort them dice out, and then let's go into turn 1. Okay, so it's Viking player turn 1, and it is the charge phase. Now, it is turn 1, so of course most of the units are all out of charge distance range. But the thing is, you can use orders to move units up out of sequence. So if I decided that these were in a good position and I wanted to charge up, I could give them an order to move up with a march, for example, and then it's still the charge phase, so they would be able to declare a charge onto a unit. I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to save the command points because the Vikings only have 6 in this army. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight to movement, starting with the Orford Knight here now. They are light troops, so their manoeuvre rate is 5. That gets doubled up to march, but they have -1 speed on this, so they can only go 9 inches. That's going to leave them quite close to that Saxon line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move them up just enough so that they're still on this piece of terrain here, the rough ground there. So they're only 7 inches away, so they don't need a 3+ to charge next turn. The Saxon player probably won't want to charge up into that rough ground because it will break their line. So let's move up the rest of the Herdmen, the Bondi. So now all of these troops are formed, so they only move manoeuvre rate of 4. They can just march 8, nice and easy. So they're moving up nice and slowly. It's probably going to be at least another turn until they charge. So let's move up all of these guys. The Berserkers are actually an attached unit, so that means they must always stay with the unit that they are bought with at the start of the game. And then the characters or the commanders, they don't have to move up with the unit. I want to keep them in there for now, just because if I decide to charge, they're with the unit that they're in. The archers, they're already in range. They have a range of 24, so I don't need to move around with them. And then what I've done for this army is Harold's got the main force, and then I've bought a Jarl with Herdman as well. So these are his own household troops. So they're going to try and swing around the flank this game. They've got a lot of missile troops around them, so we'll see if they do well this game. I do have command points. I have 2 command points compared to that commander that only has 1. So I might be able to outlast that unit up there and then try to change the events of the battle. Now I'm going to move these javelin men up around here. I'll do that off camera because it's a bit more fiddly. But they've only got an 8-inch range with their javelins, and they're not going to be able to shoot this turn. So I'll keep them in reserve to see what happens next turn. But other than that, I'll finish off the movement and then we'll go on to the shooting phase. Okay, so it's the shooting phase, and we've only got 1 unit shooting for the Vikings this turn, and that's going to be the archers. Now you have to declare all of your shooting each phase, just so that you can't, each player knows what's going on basically. So I'm going to do these archers onto that unit of archers, and I'm doing that because I want to nip off a few wounds, or hopefully take off a few wounds before the Saxons start shooting this unit of Herdmen, which I think they're probably going to do. So 16 shots. The Bondi archers hit on 4, sorry. The Saxons don't have any shields, so they're just going to be hitting on 4s, which is quite nice. So let's see how many they hit. 16. Let's take out the misses. It's quite good shooting. Now you would do armor saves, and they don't have any armor upgrades, so it's just straight to the kill roll. So wounding on 4s normally, but they're over half range. The range of the bows is 24 inches. Let's just double check that so you can see. So anything in that range would be normal to kill rolls, but if it's not, it's -1 to wound. So 4s goes to 5s, and that is 2 dead Saxon archers. So I'll take them wounds off, and then we'll go on to the next phase. Okay, so as you can see, I've got 2 dead Saxon archers up there. It is now the combat phase, and we've got no one in combat. But generally, if someone was already in combat at the beginning of the combat phase, they would then get to fight again. So that's going to happen later on in the game, but for now, that is not the case. As mentioned at the start of the game, I can still use command points out of sequence. So just because it's the command phase doesn't mean that if I wanted to, Harold could order this unit to shoot, or I could order any of my units to move again if I deemed that necessary or tactically sound at that point in time. But for the moment, I think it's best to see what happens with the Saxons. So that is now going to be Saxon turn 1. Right, so Saxon turn 1, and it is the charge phase. Now, they've got a beautiful line of battle there, so they're not going to be moving from that until they need to. So we're going to ignore the charge phase this turn, and we're going to go straight to movement, and it's going to be the same thing. So movement's not going to happen, but what they are going to do, or the units that can do it, is they're going to go into Shield Wall. Now, Shield Wall increases the armor save of attacks to the front zone by +1. So the Chells get +1 armor save. Now, they don't normally have an armor save, so it's really nice for them. So 6+ armor save for them. The Thanes, both the units of Thanes, get 4+ armor save now. These are Chells as well, and then some Chells there as well. Now, we use the Shield Wall markers, but you can use any markers that you like, but I like to put them at the front because it's easy to remember if someone wins a combat against them, that goes. So it's just good to have some sort of marker if you like to represent that. Now, when a unit's in Shield Wall, they can only shift as well. So I can shift, and that is 2 inches forward, back, left, or right. So they don't need to do it at the moment. If you do any movement besides that, you go out of Shield Wall. So you have to be careful. The Huskarls on the hill, they can't go into Shield Wall because they don't have shields. So they're not going to be doing that. That is movement for the Saxons. Now, the archers we already know are in range of them, but they're actually going to choose to shoot this unit in the shooting phase. The slingers on top of the hill are going to shoot this unit of Herdmen. Now, they have an 18-inch range, so only a few of them are going to be able to shoot. What I'll do is I'll measure that for the shooting phase, but let's sort that out, and then we'll come to some dice rolling and see what happens. Okay, so I have measured up, and there's only 2 slingers that are out, so that's going to be 13 shots. So before I roll any dice, like I said before, declare the shooting. So I'm going to do the slingers onto this unit of Herdmen, and these archers are going to shoot this unit of Herdmen as well. Now, they did originally have 16, so they've only got 14 shots now, and there's 13 slingers there. So starting with the slingers. Now, to hit roll, so they start with 4s as well, but the Herdmen do have shields, so it's going to be -1 to hit. So 5s to hit them. That wasn't too bad. That's 4 hits. That was a hit. And then we do armor saves. These have light armor, which is a 5+. So we roll that first before we roll to kill. That's no saves. And then the slingers, skirmishers compared to formed units of missile troops generally wound slightly worse, but that makes them cheaper. So they normally wound on 5s, but again, they are over half range, so normally 5s goes to 6s to kill. So no kills. They would normally have killed 1, but they're just slightly out of range, so the momentum of that projectile was just weakened. So now we'll go on to the archers. Now, as I said before, they normally would have had 16, but 2 of them are dead. So 14 attacks, hitting on 5s for the shields. Start to speed this up slightly. So 5s for the shields. 4 hits again. 5 plus armor save. Save 1 this time. Still not that great. And then they're over half range again. So 5 to kill instead of 4s. And nothing killed. So the Saxons are struggling a bit with their missile troops there. But they're over half range. So that makes sense. Now, again, I could decide to do some orders for the Saxons if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. So let's tidy up, go on to the initiative for turn 2. Okay, so it is the start of turn 2, and before anything happens, the initiative can be changed. Now, the player who has the initiative can decide to spend a command point from the general and force the opponent to have the next turn. Now, there's not many cases where that is necessary, but it can happen. But what happens much more often is the player who doesn't have the initiative, so in this case the Saxon player, can try to change the initiative, forced to change the initiative by doing the same thing. So they'd spend a command point from their general, and what would happen is, if the active player didn't want that to happen, they would have to spend a command point, and then they'd have a little duel of points. So in this instance, the Saxons don't need to change the initiative, but later on in the game that might happen. So I'll explain that slightly deeper later on if that happens. But for now, it is now the Viking player's turn 2. Now, we normally keep this turn marker on the side of the player who has the initiative, just to keep it clear who's doing what first. So again, we're going into the charge phase. Before we can do that, we can do some orders. I'm not going to do it this turn, because what I want to do is I want to see if this unit of Ulfhednar can get into this unit of Churls and try to start causing some damage on the flanks. Do you know what? Let's do you know what? Let's do a command point from this unit here. So spend a command point, and what this Jarl's going to do is order the unit to maneuver. So all of the orders in the book have different levels of difficulty. So that is just the dice roll might be a 3+ on some and a 4+ or 5+ on others. The maneuver order is a 4+. So on a single dice, 4+. If you exceed it or equal to or exceed it, you've successfully given that order. So 4+ I see. And he has. So 6+, which is perfect. Now what that means is nothing special, besides if the army general wanted to intercept that order, he would have to get equal to or more now. So to intercept that, he would have to get a 6 or more. And Harold has only 4 command points, so he doesn't want to be wasting them. So he's going to let that order go off. So what happens is they immediately get to do that maneuver, or whichever order you give them. So 4 inches forwards, which is nice. They're now only 5 inches away. So it's now the charges. So what I'm going to do is order this unit. Sorry, not order. I'm going to say that this unit's going to charge them. These guys now have to give their charge reaction, which is going to be a stand. And then this unit of Ulfhednar are going to charge that unit of Charles, and they're also going to stand as well. So let's do the charge distance and the charge roll. So these Ulfhednar are, as you can see, 6 inches away. You can pivot to make the charge slightly closer if that is the case. So yeah, that changes it from a 7 to a 6. This is -1 movement, so the total that this unit needs to get in is 7, and they move 5. So 2+ to get in. See, they do. So what happens is, move this to the side here. We'll move these in, and then we'll resolve this combat straight away before we go on to the other one. So let me grab some dice, and then we'll go through exactly what happens. Okay, so the unit's gone in, and we've got 2 things that happen before the actual combat. We've got the frying weapons first, and then we've got the berserker if he survives. Now, only the Churls have frying weapons, and they have a 5+ to hit. Now, frying weapons, you get to fight in 2 ranks, only if you're in the front. Fighting someone in the front, and also if you're not already engaged. So 14 attacks hitting on 5s. I'm going to roll the dice here because it's slightly easier for me. So 5s to hit. The Orphaned do have shields, but shields are ignored for fire weapons. So 5s, there are other factors that can minus this to hit roll, but for this combat it doesn't count. So 3 hits, and then it would be armor saves for the Orphaned. Now the one thing that's bad about the Orphaned is they don't carry around armor with them, so no armor saves, and then it's going to be straight to the kill roll or wound roll. Wound on 5s. Okay, so that's 2 dead, and unfortunately there is a 6 there. So if I get another 6, any attached units or attached commanders can potentially get hit. So 6, no, so it still counts as a kill. So that's 2 dead. And then what we do now is the Berserker. Now, as at the start of the game, I did say that this is the Mushroom Berserker. So he does D6 hits that kill on 3s with no armor save. So let's see what happens. Only 2, not great. 3s to kill. Even though these Churls do have an armor save now, the Berserker does ignore them. So that's why the Vikings like the Berserkers. So 3s to kill. So only 1 in return, but it is a 6, and there is an attached Alderman in there, or L, sorry. So 6, it will hit him. No. So 2 dead Orphaned, 1 dead Churl, which is a good trade-off. This dies, but it doesn't count towards the combat result. And then what we'll do is we'll get into the dice for the attacks. Okay, so one thing to note here, when it's actually an attack in close combat, everyone that's still alive will get to fight no matter what, unless a weapon says otherwise. So fire weapons and Berserkers and some other weapons do kill before the other unit gets to attack. So now we can work out the attacks. So we've got 21 Churls there with his L, and then we've got, because they have thrusting spears, and then we've got 2 ranks of Orphaned because they have hand weapons. So 6 versus 20 plus the L. So we'll do the Orphaned first because they charge, and they hit on 3s normally, and the Churls have shields, so hitting on 4s. Because they charge, they do get rerolls, so that is the main advantage of charging with a unit. 4s for these. Did make quite a lot of difference. Now, normally, the Churls wouldn't have an armor save, but as you can see, we've got the shield wall marker there, so saving on 6s. Hopefully this will save a few. It does, so it's always worth getting that extra armor save if possible. And then the Orphaned are killing on 4s with their hand weapons, so killing everything that rolls a 4+. We kill a Churl. So 3 dead, but we did get a 6. And no, so that's 3 more Churls dead. So let's take them off at the back. Doesn't matter which side you take the casualties off of, because everything always gets realigned anyway. So, and also, like I said, it doesn't matter if doesn't matter who died. You know that there's 20 Churls fighting, and then the single L there. I'm going to use a white dice for the L because he hits slightly better. So normally hitting on 4s for the Churls and 3s for him, but everything has a -1 to hit because the Orphaned now have shields. So 4s for the white dice and 5s for the Churls. The L actually missed, and the Churls do really well with their 5s and 6s. As I said before, the Orphaned don't have any armour, so it's going to be killing on 5s for the Churls. Now, the Churls are only 4 armour, so they're nowhere near as good as the normal Thanes or Herdmen that kill on 4s. So 5s instead, still really good. 3 kills. The Berserker is actually dead now, so those 6s actually are wasted. So 3 more dead Orphaned now. And then what we do is we work out the combat score. So we compare casualties and ranks and any other abilities that or keywords that take into effect. So the Vikings killed 4 Churls and have 2 ranks. Our rank is determined by having 5 or more models in infantry up to 3. So 2 plus 4 is 6. The Churls have 2 ranks and killed 5, so they have 7. So they actually win that combat. So what happens is we take off them casualties and give the Churls a momentum of 1. So the Orphan Knight have to do a stand fast test and have to do a dice roll with 2 dice of equal to or more than their leadership value minus the momentum that the winning unit has. So they start with 6. So they need to get a 7 or more on 2 dice, otherwise they will suffer a few more casualties. So hopefully they don't do that. So they get a 9, so they pass that test. So nothing else happens. Everything gets tidied up. The momentum gets lost. Now, the Chels actually did win that combat, so they actually keep their shield one, unfortunately. So let's tidy that up, and then let's go on to the other charge on the other side. Okay, so now moving on to the second charge of the Viking player's turn, and it's these herdmen that have moved up versus these Chels here. We can see that they're only 5 inches away, so they are going to be automatically in because they move 4. But we'll roll the dice just for the sake of completeness. So they're 100% in. Let's move these to the side, move everything in here, and hopefully this unit does a lot better than those Orphan Knight did. So we get throwing weapons now for the herdmen. And they have 4+ throwing weapons, so hitting on 4s, ignoring the shields as before. Wow, that's every single hit. Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, they do have armor saves though, so 6+. That's really good as well. These are magical dice. And then killing on 4s now, so let's do that. Really big kill roll. 5 Chels dead. There are lots of 6s in there, and there is an attached alderman. So 6 to hit him. It does hit him. He has a 5+ armor save or superior armor. So on a 5 or less, it's negated. Otherwise, he's dead. So he actually negates that. So it would have been 5. That's negated. So it's now 4 kills on a Chel. So that's really good for the Saxon player. So let's take these casualties off, put them to the side there so we can tell exactly what's going on. And then it's going to be 14 attacks for the throwing weapons because you only get 2 ranks. So hitting on 5 for these. Let's see if that's anywhere near as good. I'll take the hits out this time because that was not great. So 4. The herdmen have light armor, so 5. So as you can tell, they are a lot better than the Orphan Knight and the Bondi, but obviously they're more expensive. So they've saved 2, killing on 5s. That's only 1 dead, so really good for the Saxons. The Vikings. And before we actually go into the combat as well, we have the berserker there, and that's only a normal berserker, so it's D3. So 1. Let's see what happens. So it's only going to be 1 hit, ignoring the armor save like the other one does, and it's killing on 3s. So no. So that berserker was useless. Now we can go straight into the combat, and as before, let's work out how many attacks the both sides have. So the Chels have thrusting spears, so they get 3 ranks, and the Vikings get 2 ranks to fight. So we've got 7, 14, 17 Chels and the Elderman, and then we've got 6, 12 Herdman and the Jarl. So we'll do the Jarl and his Herdman first. So 12 plus him. Now he does have a double-handed axe, which ignores up to 2 armor. So it's going to ignore the armor save of the Chels here. So they all normally hit on 3s, and they've got shields, so 4s, but they charge, so re-roll in. Nice and easy to remember. So these are all hits, and then 4s. So the Jarl misses. And then we've got a few hits there for the Herdman. 6+ armor save for the shield wall. Again, it shows you how important it is to have that armor save, even if it's just 6. And then killing on 4s. Wound rolls of 4. So only 2 dead from the actual close combat, which isn't fantastic. It's still almost the whole rank off of those Chels. And then we've got 17 Chels plus the Alderman. And there is they have slightly different hit rolls. So 4 is normally for the churls, which goes to 5s, and 3 is normally for the ealdormen, which goes to 4s. So not fantastic. Armour saves a 5+. No armour. Oh, this could be nice. And then 5s to kill. So only 1 dead, but it is a 6, and there is still a Jarl in that unit. So 6 it does hit the Jarl. He has a 4+ armour save because he's a sub-commander compared to just the leader. So 4+, it ignores that. And it doesn't. Wow, okay, so the Jarl is dead, which is massive because it loses his command point. And also, when a leader's attached to a unit, it gives them +1 leadership. So now they've lost that bonus. So the whole reason why I put that Jarl into that unit is actually been negated now, which is fantastic for the Saxons. So let's work out the combat score. So even though there are multiple models on this base, it's just for the visual effect. So that's 1 casualty, that's 2 casualties, so 2, and then 2 ranks for the Saxons, so they have a total score of 4. And then the Vikings have 1, 2, 3 ranks, so they've still got that back rank of 5, and they killed 3, 6 guys, so they've got 9. So the Vikings definitely did win that combat. So what happens this time is a momentum on their side of 1, excuse me, and then they get they have to do a combat score of, sorry, they have to do a standfast test of 9, which is their leadership. They get +1 for him being in there, so it goes to 8, and then -1 for that's a 9. It's not great. So they failed that test, but they only failed it by 2. Now, you can use command points for leadership tests as well as orders, and Harold is on the hill there, and he is in range with his point. So what he's going to do is he's going to use one of his monks or his command point. So let's spend that. Let's leave it down here for the moment. So you can roll any or all dice in a test. So what we're going to do is we're going to re-roll this. And remember, what we need to get is a 9+. So I need a 3 on this dice to pass this test. So they pass that test, which is fantastic. So what we'll do is we'll tidy this all up, this combat ends. And Harold's special ability is that any command point that he uses during the game gets returned to him on a 6+. So re-roll that single dice on a 6+, he gets it back, and he doesn't. So what we'll do is we'll take this monk away from him. We will tidy up this whole combat because it's ended, and then we'll go on to the movement phase for the Vikings. Okay, so it's the movement for the Vikings, and I have moved a few things already just to make it slightly easier and so that I can explain what's going on. But before I actually do that, what I'm going to say is, because this unit of Thanes lost the combat, what I've done is I've taken off that shield wall marker. So as you can see, everyone else that has shield wall still on them still has the marker on. So that could make quite a lot of difference in the combat phase and everything else that will happen thereafter. So now that I've mentioned that, let's go on to the movement. So I've left the archers where they are because they can still shoot that unit of archers in the Saxon army. So they're going to stay there. If they do move, they suffer -1 to hit. So there's no need for them to move unless they have to. Now, all of my central units for the Vikings have moved up to a position where they're all now 5 inches away from their opposing units. Now, the reason for that is I know that I can charge and automatically get in next turn without having to roll a dice because I only need a 1. And additionally, if the Saxon player wants to charge me, it means that they have to go out a shield wall. So that's the reason why they've only moved up for that distance. All of the commanders are obviously still in their unit, so given their units +1 leadership, so they're all quite nice and strong. And then I've moved these javelin men on the left there into the flank of that unit of churls. They can't shoot this turn because they have marched, but if those churls are still there next turn, I'll be able to shoot into the flank of them. So that is all the movement done. So we can go on to shooting straight away, and we've got the 16 attacks from the archers, and they are going to shoot the Saxon archers this time. And so let's grab the dice and let's see what happens. So 16 attacks, hitting on 4s like they were last time, and they're going to go straight to killing on 5s because it's over half range. So nice and easy, 4s and then 5s. Let's take out the hits. That was really nice actually. The Vikings are killing quite a lot of guys, so 5s really good. That is 5 guys dead. There are 6s, but as I said before, there's no one in that unit. So 5 archers dead. I'm going to put them to the side here. Now, shooting doesn't cause any type of morale or panic unless you're charging. So that can disrupt the charge, and then the charge will fail if they fail a test. But other than that, shooting has no effect on units. And the reason for that is obviously we want to make it so that winning the game is done by actually killing units in combat the way it was actually won. Shooting can be really effective, as you can see. If that was a unit shooting the Chells or even the Huskarls up on the hill there, knocking a few wounds off and taking a few ranks down can make a massive difference to whether a unit wins or loses the game. So don't knock a 5-point or 6-point slinger or archer, skirmishing archer. They can be really good at doing what they need to do, but they won't win you the game. So let's go on to the combat phase now. And as I said before, you can do command points at any point in the turn, and as it's going into the combat phase, I know that both the Ulfudnar and these Herdmen are going to fight a combat because they began the turn engaged. So I don't need to order any combats, but what I will say going into the combat phase now is I do want to cause these 2 units to either run or be at a point in which the Saxon player has to decide that they need to invest more resources into trying to shore up those flanks. So I may potentially use some command points to either move a unit in here or charge so that I can support a flank or something like that. So I'm not going to use any command points now, but I'll say that going into combat phase. So what I'll do is I'll tidy up the table, grab some dice, and then I'll start with the Ulfudnar versus the Chells on this side, and then we'll see what happens. Again, as it is the Viking player's turn, I will start with the Ulfudnar, but the order in which you do the combats doesn't really matter. So again, we'll work out who gets to fight first. So we've got 12 Ulfudnar attacking. I did say 6 last time, but before I said 6, I did say 12. So it's actually 12, 2 ranks of 6, and then we've got 7, 14 plus 3, 17, and then the L there. So 17 versus 12. Starting with the Ulfudnar hitting on 4s. Really nice. Now, these Chells do still have their shield wall, so they do still have a 6+ armor save, and it has been proven to make a difference. So, and it has again. Even 1 does make a difference. Killing on 4s. That's really good. So 3 dead Chells, but there is a 6 there again. So on a 6, another 6, it will hit that. Oh no! So just 3 Chells dead. So it is that back rank off, but it won't affect the rank bonus of the Chells. So then we've got 17 plus the L. The Chells are hitting on 5s, the L's hitting on 4s, and I'm using a white dice for him again. They've done really good again. Okay. And then 3s to kill with the L. Most commanders generally hit and kill better than most other units, but obviously you do pay the points for that. So 5s for the black dice, 3s for the white dice. That's another reason why you want to have commanders in units as well, because it basically means that you're much more likely to kill a model. So 4 guys dead. I did get a 6, but there's no one in there. So let's take off 4 Ulfudnar. And this isn't looking good for these Ulfudnar. They're really good at hitting and killing, but they can't take a hit back. So generally you want to support them in some form or another, which is why I've put up the Javelin men into the side there. So let's work out that combat score. So we'll do the Ulfudnar first. They killed 3 Chells and only have 1 rank now, so 4. And then they've got 4. The Saxons have 4 kills and have 2 ranks still, so they've got 6. So they've lost again. So as I said before, the Saxons will get this 1 momentum. So what I'll do is I'll put it here so that it's easy to see what's going on. So they've got 1 momentum. You have to do a stand fast test again. Starting with 6, -1, they need a 7 on 2 dice. They failed that test. Now, this is where keywords and other special rules come into effect. Now, as good as the Ulfhednar are, they are unruly, undisciplined, fanatical. Now, what that means is, the one that makes a difference at this point in time is undisciplined. Now, undisciplined units cannot be given orders by any commanders unless they're actually in the unit themselves. So, even though Harold has an 18-inch command influence and he's easily in there, he could have used his command point like what Harold did earlier for those Chels, but he cannot do that because they're undisciplined. So I cannot re-roll this dice, so they're going to be taking 3 casualties, but they are resilient, which means they take 1 less wound from failing test. So 3 goes to 2, so they take 2 more casualties, which is still not nice, but that takes off a bit of the soreness of 3 casualties. So then what happens is this unit of Ulfhednar will be pushed back by the winning unit now, and then we'll fight another combat. So what I'll do is I'll tidy this up, I'll shift these units back 2 inches, and then we'll go on to the consecutive combat. Okay, because the Chels won that combat, they keep both the shield wall marker and the momentum modifier. So let's go into the combat. Let's see if these Ulfhednar can stay alive and cause some casualties. So 7 versus 14 and the Earl. Hitting on 4s. Still got the 6+ armor save. No, and then 4 is the kill. So no kills on the Ulfhednar. They don't want to fight anymore. I think they're giving up. And then we've got 14 attacks from the Chels and the Earl. Hitting on 5s and 4s for the white dice. Okay, and then 5's the kill. Killed 1, so 1 plus 2 ranks is 3 versus 1, so they get another momentum, and the Ulfhednar have to get 6 -2, so they need an 8 on 2 dice. They failed a test, so they failed by 2, which means they would take 2 casualties, but again they have resilience, so they only take 1 casualty. We'll push them back 2 inches up to this terrain, and then we'll fight another combat, which we'll do straight away. So we'll just show you, because it shows you how quick these combats can be. So 5 versus 14 again. 5 hitting on 4s. And then armor of 6. No, 4 is the kill. So no kills again, as Ulfhednar are definitely given up. And then 14 Chels. Now, because this is the 3rd consecutive combat, if these Ulfhednar fail this test, the unit is destroyed, and then every unengaged friendly unit within 6 inches has to do a test. So it's looking like they're going to lose. So let's see how the Chels do. So it's hit again, back dice hitting on 5s. The Earl misses again. So just because he can hit better doesn't mean he does. Killing on 5s. Yeah, so that's 1 Ulfhednar dead, and then a test, so -3 now. It's always important to make sure that the momentum modifier is accurate to what the roll is. There are other modifiers that can increase the momentum, so the Normans get shock impact, so that's an additional 1 if they charge and win the combat. There are other things as well, but for this combat, it's the Ulfhednar 6 base, -3, they need a 9, and this would be nice. No, double 1. It couldn't be any worse. So what happens is I'll put this casualty on because this unit's going to be destroyed. But before that happens, every friendly unit within 6 inches, so it's going to be those Javelin men and this unit of Herdmen, have to do a panic test. Starting with the Javelin men on 9. So it's the same as a stand fast test. For each point you miss, you take a casualty. So 1 casualty on the Javelin men, and you always take that from the closest guy. Herdmen are on a 7. They've got the go die in there, which takes them to a 6. So they're fine. So nothing else happens. This unit of Ulfhednar are destroyed, unfortunately. They didn't do a good job. And then this is off as well. And then the churls can do a surge move, which is a manoeuvre. Now, what that means is they will go out of shield wall unless they stay where they are. But I think going back into a position where they can flank. Actually, they're going to move back into line, and then it's their turn next, so they can go back into shield wall. So let's do that. Okay, now we're moving on to the second combat of the Viking player's turn, and we've got these herdmen which have now lost their Jarl versus these churls with the Eldermen. So we've got 12 herdmen versus 15 churls and their Eldermen. So hitting on 4s for the herdmen. That weren't great. They have lost their shield wall now, these churls, so they go straight to the kill rolls. 4s. That is 2 dead churls. Okay, and then 15 plus the Elderman. The Elderman's hitting on 4s, and the churls hitting on 5s. Oh, he actually hits. 5s. I'll reroll this one. Nope. 5 plus armor save for the herdman. Save 2 normal guys. So 3 to kill for the Alderman, 5s for the churl. So 2 dead, no 6s. It doesn't matter anyway. So 2 dead, 2. So the churls have 2 ranks and kill 2. That is 4. The herdman kill 2. Have 2 ranks, that is 4, so that is a draw. So nothing actually happens besides just tidying up the kills. Now, as I said before, I want to make sure that something happens on at least one of these flanks, and because the Ulfrinar did not do well at all, what I'm going to do is... Do you know what? Actually, I can't. That's why you need to have commanders as everywhere as possible. So the command influence for Harold is 18 inches, and he counts as being in the centre of the unit for the command, so he's about 2 inches out. So I actually can't do any orders and try to push through that flank. So actually the Saxons have done really well in the Viking player's turn. So what I'm going to do then is sort them casualties out, and then it's going to go straight onto the Saxon player's turn 2, and this could be an interesting one. Right, it's the Saxon player's turn 2, and it's looking quite good for them at the moment. As you can see on this side of the table now, I did surge backwards so that even though they've lost their shield wall, this unit of herdmen are not going to be in position to charge them unless they use a command point. So it's the charge phase for the Saxons, and they're doing well enough by not charging and standing in their defensive position. So I'm going to skip the charge phase and actually go straight to movement, and I could move these. I could shift these Saxon units back 2 inches. So that is actually what I'm going to do, because I know that the Viking player is going to try and charge next turn. So if I shift back, it makes it slightly harder for them to get in. So that's going to be like a 3+ to get in, which is interesting. The archers are going to stay where they are, but after they shoot, they can shift anyway. So they'll probably shoot this unit and then shift back. I'm going to put this unit of churls into shield wall, and then we'll go into shooting. So I've put that marker on that unit for their shield wall, and we'll go into shooting. There's only going to be this unit of archer shooting. I can't shoot these slingers because they're not in a facing where I'm unengaged. So because we have a 45-degree angle coming out for facings, the skirmishers are mostly in the front, so they cannot shoot them. So archers onto the unit of Bondi. They are within 12, so actually they're in short range this time. So they're actually going to be killing on 4s as well as hitting on 4s. So attacking them, 4s normally, but they do have shields, so hitting on 5s. Really nice. The Saxons are doing well this game. The Bondi don't have any armour because I didn't pay for it, and they're hitting on 4s. So 4s, 2 6s. Now this is not good. If I get another 6, it's either going to hit that berserker or that banner. So either way, it's not going to be good. It does. Wow. Okay, so 1 to 3 the berserker, 4 to 6 the banner, 6 is the banner, and then the banner only has a superior armor of fire plus. So fire plus is negated. It is okay. Really good. So I did get a 6 earlier. This one's negated, so I do still kill 1 Bondi, which is lucky for the Vikings. A bit of luck actually needed. And then, as I said before, we can shift these archers back too. A shift can be done in the movement phase, but it does still count as movement, so that's why the archers can do it. And that's with any bow arm troop, so it's quite a nice bit of movement there that they can do out of sequence. So that's all the shooting done. I could give some units orders from either Harold, Edwin and Walker there, or even the Earl there, but I'm going to save them points because now it might even look like that the Saxons can try and do a bit of a flanking move here if the Vikings overcommit. So we'll go on to combat now, and we've got 13 Churls fighting with their Ealdormen, against the 12 Herdmen. And so we'll start with the Churls this time because it's their turn. Hitting on 4s, goes to 5s, and then 4s for the Ealdormen. No, he misses again. 5s. These Vikings really need this combat to go well for them because they're going to struggle otherwise. Armor save with 5s, and then 5s to kill. So only 1 dead. Okay, this is looking quite good for the Vikings at the moment. So 12 back, hitting on 4s. Whoa, that's shocking. No armor save for the Churls though, so let's see if I can kill some. Only 1 dead in return. So 1v1, and then they've both got 2 ranks. If the Herdmen have killed another guy there, they would have won that combat. So shocking performance again from the Herdmen there. But if the Saxons aren't careful, that unit can still cause trouble later down the line. So we're gonna have to see what happens. So that is all of the combat's done. I could again. We know that Harold up on the hill is in range with his command influence to use orders, but I think these Saxon Churls have been quite lucky at holding off these Herdmen at the moment. So issuing an order to attack again would be a bad idea. So we'll hold off on that. We'll now clean up those casualties, and we'll go on to turn 3 and see if the Saxons want to try and change the initiative. And so let's see what happens. All right, so I've had a little think about what's going to happen this turn, and the Saxon player isn't going to try and change the initiative, and likewise the Viking player isn't going to try and pass over the initiative. So, and the reason for that is because the Saxons have already moved back 2 inches, so they should be, it should be like a 7-inch charge there. Yeah, so it might be 6 with a pivot potentially, but they're already far enough away so that it's not an automatic charge. So even if one of these units doesn't get in, it could be quite a massive turn of events. So it is now turn 3 of the Viking player, as you can see, and it is the charge phase. Now, the Vikings need to make sure that this turn, whatever they do, it hits the Saxon player really well. So what I'm actually going to do is issue this unit an order to move from Harold, and they're going to try and go towards this unit of archers. Now, it's not. It should be an easy unit, but what it will do is it will start to force this Saxon player to have to turn and maybe even commit this unit of Huskarls on the hill to turn and face them, whilst the rest of the army kind of shifts over this way. So, as we know from before, it's a 4+ to do a manoeuvre order, and they pass it again on a 6. So Harold doesn't like the look of that. So what he's actually going to do is he's going to spend one of his command points. And the only reason for that is, even if he fails it, he might still get that back on a 6. So it's worth a shot. It's a 6+ to try and intercept first. No, and then a 6+ to get that point back. No, so he fails it. I'll take off the command points from both of the army generals, and then what I'll do is I'll do a manoeuvre. So manoeuvre is a pivot and a manoeuvre, which is 4 inches for this unit. Okay, so they're there. Now, I was also thinking about doing it on this unit of Herdmen onto this unit of Chels. Now, that actually might be a good idea still, because if I move this unit into there and charge them, they're weaker, and also I can move Harold into a more defensive position. So, let's think. What is a good thing to do? I think, Joe, what? Let's try it. I'm only going to use 1 command point because I don't want to use too many. So one command point, 4+ again. They get it off. Harold isn't too worried about that because he's still got 3 main combat units there. So he's just going to let that happen. So I'll also move this unit. So this is why the command points can be quite important to keep or use, because what it does is it allows you another tactical option. And you have to consider that for both when it's your turn and also when it's your opponent's turn. Obviously, I decided not to move these archers back 5 inches because I thought it would be better to shoot and try to cause some casualties on these. But now they might die because of it. So now that I've done those out of sequence orders, as you can see, this is where the armies are. What I'll do is I'll declare the charges. So this unit of Herdmen will charge this unit of Chels. They will stand there because they're now back in shield wall, and they've already done really well, so hopefully they'll do the same. And then this unit of Bondi will charge this unit of archers. Now they stand, and when you stand you do get to shoot missile weapons if you have them, but you can't shoot if the unit that's charging is within their manoeuvre rate, which they are. So the archers unfortunately aren't going to be able to use their bows because they're too close. So what we'll do is we'll do the charge from this unit of Bondi into them first. I've just measured it and we already know that they're in 4 inches, so I don't need to roll the dice to get in. So we'll do that. The commanders go in. It doesn't matter where the commanders actually are. If they're on terrain, they actually are considered to be in the centre of the unit. So let's go to throwing weapons. Now, the archers are not good in combat, so they should lose this combat, but they might be able to hold the Bondi there, which would be quite nice. So let's see what happens. So 14 throwing weapons first on a Bondi, hitting on 5s. They're nowhere near as good as the Herdmen. They're more comparable to the Chels actually. Only 2 hits, and then killing on 5s because the archers don't have any armour. No kills. After you do the throwing weapons, it's the Berserker, D3 hits. Hits 2 this time. Killing on 3s. He kills 2, which is quite nice. So 2 off of there for the Berserker, which is a fair trade. And then we'll work out how many people actually get to fight in the combat. So the Bondi actually have hand weapons, so they get to fight in the front 2 ranks. So they'll get 14, plus the army standard bearer. And archers have mixed weapons, which is only 1 rank. So they'll have 7 back. So 14 versus 7. 14 and the army standard versus 7. Starting with the the Bondi first. They hit on 4s. The archers don't have shields, so they hit on 4s or rerolls. That was really nice. Okay. And they're no armour and killing on 4s. The army standard does hit better, but he kills just the same. So all killing on 4s. 2, 4, 6, 7 archers dead. So that is all of the archers dead now. So they didn't actually stand a chance really. So before they actually are removed as counters wiped out, they do get their attacks. So hitting on 5s with their mixed weapons. The Bondi do have shield, so it's hitting on 6s. No, nothing. So what happens is I'll put these archers on the back of the tray because I need to just tidy that up anyway. They're destroyed. Before they're destroyed, all unengaged friendly units in 6 inches have to do a test, panic test, As you can see, the slingers are out, but it's going to affect these churls, and the Huskars are out. So just the churls in the centre there on a 9. 7, so 2 dead. So this is why it can be quite important to do certain charges first. If I was charging this unit into them next, that could make a difference in what actually happens in that combat. So always consider that when declaring your charges. So as we know, they are destroyed. What I will do now is tidy up the casualties that I've taken off. I'll do the surge move here, and like I said before, what I want to do is I'm going to move them up here into the flank of this unit of Chell, so that the Saxon player is actually going to have to think about what's going on, and then we'll move on to the charge of those herdmen. Okay, so that's where the Bondi have surged to. Really nice. They've got the only one casualty. They've still got the Raven banner there. So what we'll do is we'll now move on to this unit of herdmen charging this unit of Churls. So let's see how far away they are. They're only 1, 2, 3, 4 and a bit. With the pivot, they're only going to be 4 inches away. So let's roll the dice. We know they're in. Yep. So shield will marker to the side there. There you go, in there. When you make the charge move into combat, you should make sure that everyone that can fight is fighting. So you don't put them like this. You just make sure that like that. Okay. Fire weapons 14 versus 12. The 12 are from the herdman, hitting on 4s, and then the 14 will be hit on fire. So herdman first, 4s. Those shells have obviously gone back into shield wall, so 6s for their armour, again making a lot of difference, and then killing on 4s. That's 2 dead, but there is a 6, so let's see what happens with that 6. No, so just 2 dead Charles, which I'll put there, and then 14 back, hitting on 5s. Really nice. This unit of Charles is going to get upgraded to Huskars, I think, at the end of the game. And then armour of 5s, and then killing on 5s. Let's see if they can kill one of those. No, they can't. They're definitely not getting upgraded to those Huskars now. So that is the fire weapons done. So now we'll work out the attacks. So it's now going to be 12 Thanes, 12 Churls versus 12 Huskars. Oh, actually, there's a Berserker there. I thought that unit had already used there. So D3. Oh, nice. 3. Killing on 3s. He kills 3 as well. Okay, that's going to change what happens now. So that's the best Berserker. Really good. He is expensive though, so it's not always guaranteed that he's going to kill that many. So now we'll work out the attack. So it's going to be 9 Churls and the Earl versus 12 Huskars. The Goda doesn't get to fight, but she does boost their attack in static combat. So for now, she's not going to make a difference besides the extra leadership. So let's do the 12 the 12 herdmen. Sorry, hitting on 3s goes to 4s because the Churls have shields, and they're re-rolling because they charged. Okay, that went fantastic. 6+ armor save, as you all know, which has been making lots of difference. Only 1 this time. Killing on 4s. Wow, okay. So that is 5 dead, and see if 6 makes a difference. No. So 5 more Churls dead. So shows you how different the... I'm losing space for the dead guys. So... it's going to be 9, and the fighting 5s and 4s. Armor save of 5. Okay, that's really good. And then 5s to kill. So those herdmen have lost no casualties in that combat and killed an ungodly amount of Churls. So we know that that unit of herdmen have definitely won. They get the 1 momentum, and then the Churls are going to have to do their standfast test. So they start with 9. They've got the Earl in there, which takes them to 8, but they go back to 9 because of the momentum. They failed that test. The Earl has 2 command points there, so he's going to spend 1 and re-roll that 1 to see if he can get a 5. He doesn't, so 7 compared to 9. That means they lose 2 more casualties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those casualties off. The Herdmen are going to do the pushback, and then we'll fight that consecutive combat, but it's not looking good for that unit there. Okay, so I have taken off the shield wall marker for that unit of Churls, and there's now 8 Herdmen fighting them, hitting on 4s. They don't get rerolls this time, 4s, but the Churls also don't get their armor save, so 4s to kill. So they've killed the 2 remaining guys. I'll roll to see if the Earl is hit, which he isn't. So 2 dead, which means that Earl is going to be captured now, but they still get to fight. So 2 plus the Earl, hitting on 5s and 4s for him. Armor save of 5. So they block the Earl's 1. Killing on 5s. No, so they all die without killing a man themselves. So as we know, this unit of Thanes is going to have to do a panic test. Their leadership is 8, so 2 dice on 8. Easily pass it, they don't care. So what's going to happen is this unit of Thanes is dead. This Earl is captured. He doesn't fight, he just he loses any special rules that he has. He can't fight, he can't use his command points. And then this unit of Herdman is now going to go into the flank of that unit of Thanes, and so now the Vikings have flanked both sides of the the centre of the Saxons. So I'll do that move, I'll then explain why I've moved where I have, and then we'll go on to shooting. Okay, so I've done the surge move and the movement of the Vikings, and we can see that I've moved these javelin men now out from behind that little chapel there, or place of worship, whatever you want to call it, so that they can start to try and use their javelins, because they've been no use this game. I've also decided to move Harold and his unit of Herdmen into a much more defensive position. I would have liked to have put them into shield wall, but if I put them into shield wall, there was a threat that these units could all have tried to charge him in one go, which wouldn't have been nice. So he's moved further away, slightly more defensive. He's protected kind of by that bog there, so I'm happy with how they are. You also see that I've put that unit of Herdmen into shield wall now, so Harold is definitely going to have to decide what he wants to do with his units next turn. And I've also left the archers here because they are in range, all of them are just in range of that unit of Churls there. So if I can nip off a few extra wounds in the shooting phase, I'll definitely appreciate that. So we'll actually move on to the shooting phase now and do those attacks. So as we know, that's definitely over half range. So hitting on 4s normally. They've got shields hitting on 5s. These archers have done really well, considering that they haven't taken any casualties, and they've almost been the sole reason that a unit of Saxon unit died. So 6+ armor save for the Churls, save, and then killing on 5s is over half range. Another 2 dead, so not bad. Yeah, and this is why it's important, like I said earlier. So that only causing a single casualty will drop the rank off, but each extra 1 helps. That's 2 less attacks that unit of Churls has now. So that's shooting done. Now let's go to orders, if I could use any orders. Now, as many of you may know, in the rulebook there is a order available to do a charge move. Now, Harold is in range of this unit to declare a charge, but you cannot do a charge order if that unit has already charged previously in the turn. And the reason for that is that in some situations, or the perfect example is this situation, so you can kill a unit and get into the flank. So if you could declare another charge again, it would just be a bit too much. So there are limitations on quite a lot of the orders. Some movement orders can't let you march and manoeuvre in the same turn as well, so you can't scoot across the table at really quick speed. The cavalry are always going to be able to move quicker than infantry, so Yeah, there are some limitations on orders, so that's obviously something to consider whenever you're declaring charges as well. So, or doing any other specific orders or movements in the game. So, whenever you are considering to do a specific order, make sure that you understand the limitations of it before you actually do it. Right, so that is shooting done. I'm not going to do any other orders. So all that has to be done now is the combat phase, which is this unit of Herdmen versus this unit of Churls, and they might get demoted if they don't kill this unit of Churls this turn. So 12 Herdmen versus 12 Churls and the Elderman. So Herdman first, hitting on 3s, goes to 4s for the shields. Let's see what happens. Yeah, not too bad, but not fantastic. No armour. And then 4s to kill. 3 dead, no 6s. So that's not bad though, because what's happened is they've knocked off that rank. So it's going to take a bit of doing for the Churls to knock a rank off of the Huskarls now. So 12 plus the Elderman. He hits on 4s compared to their 5s. Okay. That's pretty good. But the Herdmen have the armour save. So 5s. Yeah, so look, they save 3 normal guys and the Elderman again. Killing on 5s as well. So they killed 1. There's no commanders in there, so we can quite easily see that the Herdmen have got 3, 4, 5 combat score compared to 1, 2. So let's put that momentum there. Make sure that's on 1. I think I put it on like 3 the other side, so make sure it's right. The Churls have a leadership of 9, goes to 8 for the Elderman, goes back to 9. So 2 dice, I need 9. They only lose 1. Do you know what? They're going to take that casualty, get pushed back, and then they'll can fight a consecutive combat. So I'll sort that out, and then we'll go back to some dice rolling. Okay, so I've pushed them back, and as you can see, there's a bit of terrain there, and I said at the start of the game that is going to be impassable unless you go around the side on that grassy bit. So they stop when they hit anything that's impassable, or if they touch another unit. So it's going to be 12 Herdmen versus 8 Churls and the Elderman. So let's see what happens. Hitting on 4s for these Herdmen. Oh, these Herdmen are making a meal out of this unit of Churls. Killing on 4s. There's only 1 dead. This could be good for the Churls. Black dice hitting on 5s. He's hitting on 4s with the white dice. Armour save for the Herdman is 5. And then killing on 5s. So 1 dead. There's no commander in there. So 2, 3 for the Herdman and 1, 2 for the Churls. So they actually do win still, the Herdman, luckily. So that momentum goes to 2 now. And then the Churls are going to have to do a test on 9. 8 minus 2 goes to 10. So let's see. I can't believe that. They've passed that test. So the combat ends again. Fantastic for the Churls. That unit's done really well. The Churls, are the cheaper unit in the army, but they've been the ones that are performing really well. So let's tidy that up. And then we're going to go into the Saxon turn 3. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a difficult one because it's important not to use command points unless you have to. So what the Saxons are going to do is ignore all of the charge phase. I don't want to use any command points to do what I did with the Vikings, where they can position themselves in charge, because the one downside to the Saxons is that most of them have thrusting spears, so they're not as good on the charge compared to what the Vikings are. So I'm going to forgo the charge phase and go straight into movement. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to manoeuvre this unit of Thanes to face this unit of Herdmen. So take off that because they're moving rather than shifting. And then they're going to turn like this. And then I'm going to go straight forwards and go within 1 inch. You have to stay at least an inch away from... Do you know what, actually, if I do that, then they can charge me in shield wall, so stay out of 2. They're facing them. Then what I'm going to do is Harold Godwinson is going to tell his Earls, Edwin and Morcar, who were Northern Earls, but for this game, they're going to be fighting. And they're going to march 8 inches towards Harold's unit. So with that move, what I did is I moved straight up to double their manoeuvre rate, and then they can pivot at the end. So make sure that Edwin and Morcar actually stay with the unit. Now, Earls Edwin and Morcar, there are 2 of them, so they get 2 attacks. I've given them superior armour 3+, and they have double-handed axes as well. So if Harold wants to come into that attack, come in and attack that unit, they're going to be in for a nice little surprise from them. So Harold's going to have to think twice about what he does here. And then, so what? I'll make sure that, yeah, that's it. I want to make sure that there's no like flank charges that can happen. And then this unit of Thanes is going to, again, get rid of that. They're going to just turn on the spot, move back slightly. And this unit of Herdmen is just going to face up here. And Harold is actually going to move into those Huskarls. Okay, so I've kind of been a bit aggressive in some places, defensive in others. And the reason why I'm keeping the Huskarls up here is because this unit of Chels might not be able to withstand this unit of Bondi. But I don't want to commit the axes into the Bondi because these Bondi have no armour save. So the main bonus of these Huskarls is kind of wasted on that unit of Bondi for a moment. So I'll see what happens with these units first. There's also those Herdmen I need to worry about as well. So there's still quite a lot to worry about. The Slingers, again, I could move them, but if I keep them up there, unless I want the Herdmen to actually come up and chase them, these are going to be able to shoot them in the back. So that's why I'm keeping them there for the moment. So actually, now the movement's done, we can actually go on to shooting. Like I said, shooting can't be done this turn. I can't shoot into them, so we'll go straight to the combat. And we've got 7 Thanes somehow still clinging. 7 Chels somehow still clinging on against those 12 Huskarls, 12 Herdmen. Keep on mixing up those words. So 7 Chels and the Ealdormen versus 12 Herdmen. Fighting Chels first, hitting on 5s. And then 4s for the Ealdormen. Armour save. Oh, no armour saves this time. So actually the Ealdorman can kill on 3s, which will be nice. He does, and then there's another one, so 2 wounds, which is really nice actually. That knocks the rank off. So these Herdmen are actually gonna have to kill 2 guys to keep the combat a draw. So 4s, really nice. 4s, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so they've won that combat by 1. I'll take 1 off of each side. And the reason for that is it keeps it so that everyone that can fight does fight. We'll put that momentum modifier there. And then the Chels are going to be 9. 8 goes back to 9. So they suffer 2 casualties. I'll take 2 off. Clean this combat up. And now I think it's going to be... we'll do another consecutive combat. I think that unit of Chels is going to be dead now, so let's go on to that. Okay, so what I've done is I've shifted over these 2 models so that we've got 8 Herdmen fighting 2 Chels. So we'll do the Chels hitting on 5s, armour save, and 5s to kill. Nope. And the Herdmen have only got to kill 2 more, hitting on 4s. And they've killed the 2. There's no 6s, so again, they've captured this Ealdorman, so that goes on to them. These are destroyed, so that means that's a test for those Slingers on top there on a 9. So they're fine. So I will, actually this command point goes with this commander. And I can't use it myself, but this unit of Chels is dead. Finally, they've killed half of that unit of Herdmen, which is a good trade-off, really. And also it's delayed them quite a lot, so it might take them quite a few turns to actually get into a position to actually make a difference now. So It might even be worth... Do you know what? They'll probably come around here. So I'll do that surge move and then we'll go on to turn 4. Okay, so now it's turn 4. We're getting towards the latter part of the game now, but there's still quite a big fight left in both sides, both the Saxons and the Vikings. So obviously it's the initiative, whether you want to change the initiative. The Vikings definitely don't want to pass it over to the Saxons. And the Saxons, although it would be quite nice, again, like I said before, most of the units that can charge have thrusting spears. So the main bonus is more defensive than offensive. So that's also something to consider when making the armies, whether you want to have offensive or defensive units. So taking that into consideration, the Saxon player doesn't want to change the initiative. So straight into turn 4, the charge phase for the Vikings, and they're going to try and charge everyone's going to charge everyone. So those Herdmen are going to charge that unit, they're going to stand. Harold is going to charge that unit, they're going to stand, of course, that's why they're there. And this unit of Bondi is going to charge that unit of Charles. They're a bit worried, but they've got the Herdmen, they've got the Huskarls behind them. So let's do. So what? I think all of the units are definitely going to be in automatically. So I don't need to roll any dice. So let's see. It might be beneficial to do this unit first, and the reason for that is if I cause enough wounds and make this unit run, potentially both these units will lose casualties from panic. So Harold will go in first. As I said, we know they're in, so we'll move them in. All of the units in the army don't have javelins, but if they did have javelins, they would be able to shoot them if they were over their manoeuvre rate away. So that's something again to think about when you're making an army. Right, so we've got 14 Thanes now. So these actually have armour. So the Herdmen are going to struggle a bit more against these, or at least they should struggle a bit more against these. So 12 Herdmen versus 14 Thanes with their throwing weapons first. So let's do that first. So 4s. And this is the Herdmen first, sorry. Reroll this one. Okay. As I said, the Thanes actually do have light on them themselves, so 5s. Really good. And you can see here that if they were in shield wall, they would have saved an extra three hits there. So you have to be careful of what you do, whether you're offensive or defensive. And then 4s to kill. So 2 dead. We got a 6, so this could actually kill Edwin and Morcar. No, so 2 guys dead, which will actually mean that 2 attacks are lost here because they have thrusting spears. So we've got 14 attacks back. Hitting on 4s as well. Nowhere near as good, but let's see if the armour is good as well. No armour save, so that's okay. And then 4s to kill. So they lose 3 Herdmen. Okay, that's not good. There are 6 actually. Let's do the 6. No, so 3 Herdmen. Okay. See, even though the Herdmen actually lost more casualties, they've not actually lost any attacks in this combat. So it's still 12 Herdmen and Harold versus those. Actually, we've got the Berserker first. So before we do that, Berserker D3, 1 hit, killing on 3s. Yep, kills 1. Okay, so now we can work out the attack. So we've still got 12 Herdmen, and we've got 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 Thrust and Spear armed Thanes with Edwin and Morcar, which actually have 2 attacks. So let's go into the Herdmen. So 8, 12. Okay. Let's grab a white dice for Harold. These have charged, so they're all hitting on 4s, but they get rerolls. Okay. So Harold is hit, which is nice. And he actually has a double-handed axe. Actually, all of the Viking commanders have double-handed axes, which is good. That was actually a hit. Okay, so for armor saves, because he negates 2 points of armor, they don't get to roll armor saves against this attack. So we keep that to the side. And it's 5 plus armor save for these. So I don't even save 1 for that, okay. And then Harold is killing on 3s with that white dice and 4s for the actual herdman. So he misses, but there are 5 Thanes actually dead from that. The 6, if it hits the Edwin, no. So 5 Thanes die from that. 4, 5. So we actually still have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, plus the 2 attacks from Edwin and Walker. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18, and 2 attacks. Now these hit on 4s normally, and Edwin and Walker hit on 3, so it goes to 5s and 4s. Ooh, no. So it's only, what's it, 5 hits from Thanes that Edwin and Walker both miss, which is not good. 5 plus armor save for the herdman. No, and then 4 is to kill them. So 3 more herdmen dead. Let's see if that 6 is a hit on Harold, which it isn't. So 3 herdmen dead. So this has been a bit of a bloody charge. So we've lost 8 Thanes, and there's 2 ranks for the herdmen, so that's 10 total combat score. And then we've lost 6 herdmen, and there's 2 ranks for the Thane. So there's only a two wound gap in that, but the herdmen have actually won. So the Thanes have to do a test on 8, goes to 7 for Edwin and Morcar, goes back to 8. Let's put that momentum there before we do that. So that stays on the side of the winner. So 8. So they would lose 2 more casualties. They're going to take that. So 2 casualties. Then what I'm going to do is I'll tidy up all of these casualties because there's quite a lot, and then we'll do a consecutive combat. So I've done that pushback move 2 inches backwards, directly backwards. And we've got 12 Herdmen versus 11 Thanes and the leaders. So starting with the Herdmen again, hitting on 4s for all of them. So Harold has missed this time, but quite a lot of them have actually hit. And then 5 plus armor save. No, well, 1 armor save, and then 4s to kill. Ooh. So 5 more dead Thanes. There's a 6 there. No, so 5 more dead Thanes. Okay, and then we've got 11 Thanes back with 2 attacks from Edwin and Walker. Hopefully they actually hit this time. 4s for them, 5s for the rest. So one of them is hit. Armor saves. Can't save armor on this one, so save 2 of them. And then freeze for the white and 4 for the black dice. So 2 back. So definitely the Vikings have won that time. So we'll increase that momentum to 2. Take off. Well, actually, we'll do the test first. So Thanes start at 8, go to 7 because Edwin and Walker's in the unit, go back to 9 because it's -2. So this is important now. So 9. Oh, 7 again. Edwin and Walker are going to use their command point, and they need to get a 9, so 3 plus. No, so they lose 1 more guy. So again, we'll tidy up the casualties, and then we'll fight that 3rd consecutive combat. And if they lose that combat again and fail their test, they're all dead. So let's see what happens with that. 10 Herdmen versus 5 Thanes. Starting with a Herdman hitting on 4s. Harold's missed again. Armor save. Save 3 of them, really nice. 4s to kill. So 2 more Thanes dead, which is brutal. And then we've got 5 back with 2 attacks from Edwin and Walker. We'll roll this one again. No, so these are hitting on 5s and 4s. Can't save this one because it's a double-handed weapon. 5 armor for this one. No. And 3s for the white dice, 4s for the... So Edwin and Walker have missed, but there is a 6 there, so it could hit Harold. No. So 1 Herdman dead for 2 Thanes, which is a good trade-off for the Vikings. Now that momentum goes to 3, and it's the last chance for these Thanes to survive. Now, They start at 8, go to 7, go back to 10 because there's 3 there, so 10 or more, otherwise that unit is destroyed. No, they're dead. They've already used their command point, so that's fine. And Harold is looking at his men thinking it's not worth using 1 command point to save only a unit of 3. So Edwin and Morcar are going to be captured like all of the other commanders in the Saxon army so far. I'll tidy up these casualties. And then what I'll do is I'll do a test for these 2 units, like I said at the start, which is why I charged them in first. So starting with the Chels, 9. So they lose 2. So these are basically guys that are running away. So instead of doing any flea moves, we just take casualties off just to represent the fact that men are running away. And then they're on 8. Wow. Harold is going to use a command point to reroll that test. So the first thing you do when you use a command point is actually spend it. I'll reroll both of these dice. And they pass it. That's good. So no casualties go for them, and like I said earlier on in the game, any command point that Harold uses is returned to him on a 6+. No, so he loses that command point. He's now only got 1 command point left compared to Harold Hardrada's 2 points. So let's remove this unit because they're destroyed. I'll surge. I'll probably go over here, and then we'll go on to the next charge move. Here, so I've done the surge move for Harold, and you can see I've put him into the flank of that unit of Thanes, but not too far up so that those Huskarls might think about charging down to finish them off. So we'll now move on to this unit of Herdmen. I've taken off the shield wall because I know they're going to charge, and I know they're in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them in there, move the Godai in, and now I have to remember that this commander actually isn't going to attack because he's captured. So it's just going to be the unit fighting the unit. 12 Huskarls versus 14 Thane fire weapons. So let's grab those dice, and then we'll do the Herdman first, hitting on 4s. Really nice. We've got a 5+ armor save from the Thanes. And then killing on 4s. So 1 Herdman dead. So 1 Thane dead. And then 14 Thanes fighting back. Hitting on 4s. Armor save. And then killing on 4s. This could be quite nice. Yep, so it is 3 Herdman dead. There is the Godai in there, so 6. No. The 3 Herdmen dead, so I'll take them off and then we'll do the combat. It's 12 Herdmen versus 20 Thanes, so this would be nice. Starting with the Herdmen, hitting on 4s with rerolls. And then armor save. 5s. 4s to kill the Thanes. That is 3 dead. There is 6s, but like I said, no commanders, so don't worry about that. It's combat. And then 20 Thanes hitting on 5s, but killing on 4s. So 5s. Lots of nice dice rolling, but not many hits. That was a 5, I believe. So armor save of 5. No armor, and then killing on 4s. So 4 dead. There's a Godai in there. There is a Godai dies. So 4. And then we'll put the momentum on and do that test. Okay, so I put the momentum modifier onto the side of the Saxons. They had a combat score of 7 casualties and 2 ranks and 9 compared to the 2 ranks and 4 casualties of the Herdmen. So the Herdmen are actually going to have to do a test on, they start on 7. You have to remember that commander is actually not there, so 7 goes to 8. Unfortunately, the Godai died, so that could make a difference. So 7 goes to 8. They lose 2 casualties. They'll take those 2 casualties, and then I will do the pushback and then go on to the consecutive combat. So it's now 10 Herdmen versus 17 Thanes, which isn't good for the Vikings. I thought it'd do better than that, but let's see what happens here. So starting with the Herdmen first, hitting on 4s. armor save 5s, no, save 1, getting on 4s, 2 dead. Not bad, but the Thanes still have their 2 ranks. And then the Thanes, 17 back, hitting on 5s. And then armor save, hitting on 4s. So 3 dead. There is a 6, but that is their own commander, so they won't kill their own commander. Again, the Vikings lose. Saxons get 2 momentum, so they need to get 9 now to pass. Yeah, and they do. So that combat ends, thank God, or thank Odin, or Thor. We'll end that combat, and then what we'll do is we'll go on to the Bondi into the Chels here. So again, we know that they're in, and it's going to be both units actually have 5+ throw weapons. So 14, 4, 12, 14. Starting with the Bondi 5s. No armor save on both sides, so it's actually 5s and 5s to kill straight away. So 1 Chell dead, which actually means that they're only going to be fighting with 2 ranks. And then 1 hit and nothing from the Chell's back. So again, 14 v 14. The Bondi should have the advantage here because they actually charged, but they hit on 4s and kill on 4s. So hitting on 5s because the Chels have shields, but re-rolling. Only hit 2 there. Much better. Killing on 4s. 3. I'll also do the forgot to do the army standard. So he hits on 4s re-rolling and kills on 4s. So he kills one as well. And then 14 Chell's back. I think it was a good idea to leave the Huskars on that hill there because those Chels don't look like they're going to survive for too long. So 5s, 5 hits, killing on 4. They kill on 5s actually, sorry. 2 dead, 3 dead, sorry. There is a 6 which could hit the army standard. No. So 3 Bondi dead. In return, let's do the combat score. The Vikings get 3 ranks plus 5 kills, which is 8. And they've also got the Raven banner in there, which gives them +1, so that's 9. And then the Chels have 1 rank and 4 kills, so that's 3 kills, which is 4. So 1 momentum for the Vikings. The Chels are on leadership 9. There's no one in them, so it actually goes to 10. Wow, so they lose 7 casualties. I'm actually going to take that because I'll rather keep the command point on Harold. So 7 casualties. So what I'll do is I'll sort that out, do the pushback, and then we'll do that consecutive combat. Okay, so it's going to be 10 Bondi now, fighting 3 Chels that are left. And there's also the army standard, which I'll roll with him this time. So hitting on 5s and 4s for the army standard. Hitting on 4s. So that just shows you how important it actually is to have at least some sort of armour, whether that actually is some padded armour or light armour, or at least being a shield wall. The Chels can't have armour normally, so it shows, yeah, having them in shield wall and being defensive is much better. Before they die though, they do get to attack with their 3, so hitting on 5s. Nice, and killing on 5s. So they kill 1 in return, which isn't bad. So I'll do the panic test for the Herdman on that hill there. They're on 6. Which they're fine. So I'll take that off, do the surge move for the Bondi, and then we'll go on to the movement phase of the Vikings. So that's the surge move done there, and now it's the movement phase. So what I'm going to do is start to bring these Herdmen up in support of the Bondi there. Harold Hardrada, he is actually going to turn and So pivot, manoeuvre, and kind of do that to support his herdman there, just in case. And then the archers are going to march up onto this bog and start to try and threaten these skirmishers. So they normally move 10 because they're light troops, but it's -1 movement, so 9. Let's do that, and then we'll pivot so that potentially next turn, maybe those skirmishers will run away. We'll see. Javelin men here, they've been almost useless just because of the way that the game's gone. But what I'm actually going to do is I'll leave them where they are. No, Joe, I'm going to put them up in this area so that it means that if this unit of Thanes actually kills these herdmen, they'll have to face this unit because they're a bigger threat. So we'll do that, and then we'll go on to the combat phase because there's no shooting this turn. Alright, so the combat phase, we've got 7 herdmen versus 15 Thanes. So let's start with the herdmen, hitting on 4s. Armor save, 5 on the Thanes, and killing Thanes on 4s. They've killed 2. They're clinging on. And then all of the Thane attacks hitting on 5s. So 4, 5 hits. Armor saves. Kill on 4s. So only 1 dead in return. Still, actually, it's interesting. So the Vikings killed 2 and have a rank, that's 3. The Thanes killed 1 and have 2 ranks, that's 3. So that's a draw, which is really good for the Vikings. Not so good for the Saxons, but it is their turn next. So they might be able to finish off those herdmen before anything else happens. So that's the combat phase. Again, I can do orders. I've got 2 command points on the and Harold unit at the moment, but they're gonna keep them just for the moment because those Huskars on the top of the hill might prove difficult to get rid of. So let's move on to the Saxon turn 4. Okay, Saxon turn 4, and it is Harold Godwinson on the hill, and he he definitely needs to come down and charge those Bondi, and he might be able to do a nice little sweeping move and wipe away that flank that's been lost. So the only charge is going to be those Huskars into the Bondi there. The Bondi are going to hold, and so let's just move the charges. We know that they're going to be in range. The Huskars move 5. That's 4, sorry. So they've got a 5-inch charge automatically. So we'll move them in. Like I said before, Harold Godwinson actually is in the unit there, so we'll move him in with them. He does have an axe as well, so let's do that combat, and let's grab some dice. Right, so the Huskars, like I said at the start of the game, do have throwing weapons, but they don't have shields because they're paid for the double-handed axes. So 4+ throwing weapons for the Huskars, hitting on 4s. Okay, the Bondi don't have any armour, so they're dying on 4s. That's 3 dead. Okay, that's not bad. And then the Bondi have 14 throwing weapons hitting on 5s. So 2 hits. The Huskars have medium armour, which is the only unit that has medium armour in this army, which is 4+ armour. And they go on 5s. No, okay, lucky. Right, and then we'll do the attacks. So still 14 Huskars versus 14 Bondi. So 14 Huskars plus Harold, hitting on 3s goes to 4s because of the shields. But they do get the rerolls. What's this one on? That's really, really good to hit roll. And then if they had any armour, it would be lost anyway because it's -2 to the armour save. And he Huskars and Harold actually kill on 3, so this should be a bit nasty. Yeah, so 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 kills. There were plenty of 6s in there, so let's see if it hits that army standard. No, so 11 dead. Okay, that is not good. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I did say these Huskars were a bit nasty. The downside to them, though, is that they don't have shields. So, the Bondi are actually hitting them on 4s. So let's see how that goes. Actually, let's not forget the army standard. He's hitting on 3s. Okay. So look how much of a difference it would have made. Almost half of those hits would have been lost. Armor save of 4s though. Only 3 saved. Whoa. So a few Huskars are going to die this turn. 4s. So 6 Huskars dead as well. No 6s, but that was a lot better for the Bondi than I expected. That's not good for the Huskars at all. So pretty clear that the Huskars actually won that combat with the amount of casualties that they caused. So they get 1 momentum for winning. And like I said at the start of the game, because they charged downhill and actually won that combat, they get an additional +1. So the Bondi have to do a test at 8 normally, goes to 7 because so actually goes to 6 because the battle standard, because he has inspirational, goes back to 8. So 8 on 2 less. He failed that test by 1. Harold is there, and he could re-roll that test, and it might be worth it because if they hold, then it's 1 less attack, which means that the Vikings can come in next turn. So Harold is actually going to use that command point and re-roll this 1 test, and he's a 2+. He passes that test. So all the casualties are gone, all the momentum is gone, and then we'll go into the shooting of the movement and shooting of the Saxons. Right, so the only movement that the Saxons can do this turn is the slingers, but they're all, I did check the range and they're already in range. The range for the slings is 18 inches, so they're already in range, so there's no need for them to move. So let's do the shooting, and they are going to shoot into the rear of those herdmen. Now, there's no bonus for shooting into the rear of any unit, but I say they're all in range and they're all over half range. So 4s to hit normally, and their shield bonus are hitting on 5s. 4 hits. Armor save of 5s. And then they're going to kill on 6s because they're over half range. No. So that's the shooting done. So let's go straight onto combat, and we'll start from this side again. So we've got 13 attacks from the Thanes, and 6 attacks left of the Herdmen. So Thanes first, hitting on 5s. And armor save. Hitting on 4s. 2 dead Herdmen. I'll take 1 from each side just to keep it even. Then 6 attacks back, hitting on 4s. Armor save. The problem is now is that the so they've killed 1. The problem is now though is that because the Thanes have the rank bonus, even though they've just lost that casualty, they're always going to be really difficult to beat. So 1 momentum for the Thanes, which means that the Herdmen are needing an 8. Lose 3 more guys. We'll just take those 3 casualties off, and then we'll move this 2 inches, and then we'll do that attack. So it's going to be 6 Thanes, hitting on, not that, and then Herdman, no. So again, like I said, you don't even need to call casualties, but the Thanes have got 2 combat score versus nothing, so -2 to the momentum, which means they need 9. They failed that test, so that's dead unit. This commander has actually been he's been rescued, and then it's a test for both these 2 units. So the javelin men at the top there on 9, so they lose 2, which is all they've done all game, funny enough, and then they're going to be on 6 because Harold's in there, so they're fine. So let's do that surge move. Like I said, we'll probably move them back up that way, and then we will do the other combat. So that's the surge move now, and obviously a bit further away from Harold's unit than he might want next turn. It's not a guaranteed charge, so it'll be a risky one. So now it's the Huskarls into the Bondi. They don't get a reroll this time, and they also don't get the bonus of being elevated because they didn't charge. So it's going to be 8 Huskarls and Harold versus 10 Bondi and the Army Standard Bearer. So hitting on 4s with no rerolls. 3 hits, but they're killing on 3s. 2 dead. Not great. And then this is going to be 3s for the white dice and 4s. That's not great either. Armor save of 4+. Wow, Huskars are struggling with their armor and 4s to kill. Only 1 dead, but there is a 6. No. Luckily, the Huskars did win that. So 1 rank, 2 kills is 3 versus 1 rank. Actually, no, it's not a win. 1 rank for the Huskars and 2, which is 3. And then you've got 1 rank for the Bondi, 1 kill for the Bondi, which is 2. And then the Raven banner gives +1. So actually, it's a draw. So we'll take those casualties off, and then let's evaluate that. So it's a Saxon player's turn at the moment. Harold has still got 1 command point left. If he does not kill that unit of Bondi, those Herdmen are going to charge into the flank and wipe him out. So he's going to spend his last command point. On a 4+, he's going to issue an order to his Herdmen. But the Herdmen are oath-sworn, which means they get +1 to orders that are given to them by the Army General. So on a 3+, they are going to attack again, which they do. Harold Hardrada could try to intercept that, and it would be really good if he did. So let's use his command point on a 4+. He's going to intercept that, which he doesn't. Oh, that was on a 6. So he loses his command point. Harold's unit's going to fight, but before that happens, on a 6+, he gets it back, which he doesn't. So that's all command points gone from both army generals, and there's only 1 command point left on that hill there. So Herdman fighting 7 attacks versus 8, and the Army Standard. Again, we've got Harold in there as well, so hitting on 4s. Killing on 3s. 3 dead, no 6s. Again, take it off evenly from both sides. And then the Bondi, 4s for the black dice. Sorry, 4s for the white dice. Actually, 3s and 4s. 3s for the white dice. And then 4s for the armour. Only 2 again. 4s to kill. Huskarls. 2 Huskarls dead. On a 6, it's... No. 2 Huskarls dead. So the Huskarls have really struggled there with their armour saves, and as a result, they've lost quite a lot. But they've let's see if they've won the combat. So it's 1 rank for the Huskarls and 3 kills, which is 4 versus 2 kills, a rank, and the Raven banner. So 4. So it's a draw again. That Raven banner has been really important in keeping that unit there. So unfortunately, Harold's last-ditch attempt to try and kill that Bondi unit and get into a better position has failed. So now it is going to be turn 5. And it's going to be the Viking turn, because there's no command points left to try and change the initiative. So let's tidy that up and go into what potentially is going to be the last turn for the Saxons. So let's see what happens there. Okay, so as I said before, turn 5 for the Vikings. And this potentially could be the last turn, because what's going to happen is, in the charge phase, Harold is going to charge that unit of Thanes. That unit of Herdman is going to charge into the flank of that unit of Huskarls. And we'll start with this unit of Herdman first. So we are 6 inches away. They move 4, so they need a 2+. Get there fine, so they go in. We'll fight that combat straight away. So this is the capture commander. That's Ebon and Morcar, and then this is Harold. So we've got 6, 9 Herdmen with their fire weapons versus 7 + 5, so 12. 12 Thanes with the L. So weapons hitting on 4s. 4 hits. Armor save of 5s. And 4s to kill the Thanes. 6, hopefully it kills that L, that would be nice. No, so just 1 Thane dead. And then all of these attacks back, hitting on 4s as well. Armor save. Ooh, only save 1. This is killing the Herdman. Oh, for 4 Herdman dead. Okay, let's see if that hits Harold. No, so 4 Herdman dead. That's actually going to be 4 attacks that these Herdmen have lost now. Whereas the Thanes only lost 1. So now it's only going to be 5 attacks plus 1 for Harold versus 7, 11 from the Thanes plus the commander. So Herdman hitting on 4s and re-rolling. Okay, so this is a double-handed axe, so that's ignoring the armor save. This is a 5 plus armor, and that's killing on 3s. These 3 are killing on 4s. So only 2 dead. Okay. And then we've got the 11, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 plus the L. These are hitting on 5s though, so this could make a difference. 4s for the white guys though. Really good. 5 plus armor save. Saved the L's one, which is nice, and then these are killing on 4s. Only 1 dead. It's not going to matter too much though, because Harold has only killed 3 and he hasn't even got a rank left now, so I'll put him there because that's the captured one. And then the Thanes have killed 5, have a rank as well, so 6. So they've lost. Let's put the momentum modifier onto this side of the Saxons. And then Harold's going to have to do a test at 7. 6 because he's in there goes back to 7. Oh! Wow, okay. So that's going to be 5 casualties. So actually what happens is Harold has been captured, which is a massive turn of events, and Edwin and Morcar are rescued. This unit is dead, so that means that unit of Viking, the Javelin Man, is going to have to do a test on 9. So that's another 4 of them dead as well. So what I'll do is I'll sort that out, and then we'll do a little surge move. So actually, maybe the Saxons have turned the tide of the battle in the last knock-in. So let's sort that out and then go on to the charge of the Herdman into their flank there. Right, so this is the surge move, and what I've done is I've ignored those Javelin men over there, because what could eventually happen is this unit of Herdmen kill those Huskars, but as a result those Bondi die. So it's more important to get these last guys to potentially kill those Herdmen. So let's do the charge move here now. So we know that they're in. I'm not going to count that as going uphill because it's not really far enough. They're kind of on the bottom of the hill. So these guys have throwing weapons, as do everyone else. But as mentioned at the start of the game, you can only use throwing weapons if you're not already engaged and if it's not into the flank. So I'm going to get 6 throwing weapons into the side. So let's move him here and I'll explain how that works. So obviously you get corner to corner to fight with weapons. So it's only 1 to 3, and then these guys are behind. Actually, they would shift up like that. So 6 attacks with the throwing weapons. Let's grab them. Hitting on 4s. The armor save of 4s for the Huskars. Do that here. They actually saved some this time. And then 4 is the kill. So 1 dead, which is a lost attack. And then we work out the attack. So all of the Bondi are going to attack to the front, of course, and then we've still got 6 Huskars. Sorry, 6 Herdmen into the side with their attached. So actually, that's a captured commander, isn't it? So 6 Herdmen into the side, hitting on 3s normally. The Huskars don't have shields, and you also get +1 to hit in the side. So actually, they're hitting on 2s with rerolls. Wow, they definitely need it. And then armor save of 4. Okay, so 1 goes through, which is what I was expecting them to do the whole time. Killing on 4s. Get 6. Let's see if that hits Harold. No.
So 1 more Huskarl dead, but he does get to fight, remember. So then we've got 5 Bondi with the army standard, hitting on 4s, and he hits on 3s with a white dice. Armor save with 4s. So it was all with the commander, and he kills on 4s. So another one, see if it hits Harold. No. Okay. So it's actually going to be 4 Huskarls and Harold. They're all going to attack the Bondi. So hitting on the 4s. Oh god, that's not good. 3's to kill. 1 dead. It's a 6. No. So 1 dead. So it's easy to tell who's won. The Vikings have got 3 casualties. They have 1 rank. You can mix and match rank. So if these had 2 ranks and these had 2 ranks, you can only get a maximum of 3 total. But there's only 4 there, so they've got a rank and they don't. So 1 rank and 3 kills is 4. They've got the banner, which is 5, and then the Saxons have got 1 wound. So they have definitely lost. So 1 momentum for the Vikings, and they've also got a flank, so that's a +1 to the momentum. So the Herdmen after the Huskarls have to do a test. 6 goes to 8. They pass the test, which is good. So it stops that combat. That's the charges done, and then we'll go on to the movement of the Vikings. The movement phase of the Vikings. I've moved those javelin men up to actually get a shot for once. And also I've turned these archers to shoot them as well, because this can actually make a difference. So let's do the shooting. Both of those units are going to shoot this unit of Thanes, and I'll start with the javelin men first. So there's 7 guys shooting there. They normally hit on 4s. They did move, but javelins don't suffer the movement penalty for movement. So they hit on 4s, but they have shields, so hitting on 5s. 2 hits. The armor save is 5. You save them, that's fine. And then I've got 16 shots from the archers. They have moved, and they're also over half range, so it's going to be -1 to hit and -1 to wound. So normally hitting on 4s, which is 5s for movement, 6 for the shield. So 2 hits, armor save of 5s, and then killing on 4s goes to 5s for the range. 1 dead, 6. This could hit any command if I get another 6. No. So that's 1 guy dead. That can make a difference. And then it is the combat phase. There's no command points there for the Vikings here, so it's just going to be this flat combat. So what I'm going to do is the 4 Bondi first with the army standard, hitting on 4s and 3s for the white. Armor save of 4 for the Huskarls. Okay, and then this is killing on 4s. No, okay. And then it's going to be 6 Herdmen into the side. Hitting on 2s, remember, because they get +1. Armor save of 4s. Oh, killing on 4s. So that's all of the Huskarls dead, but they do get to fight before they go. So 2 plus Harold into the Bondi, hitting on 4s. Nah. So when there's... so what I'll do is I'll take these off because there's no friendly units around. So when a commander gets captured and there's multiple units engaged, you can choose which unit captures that commander. So Harold is going to be captured by this unit. So they've now got 2 captured commanders. And then these guys are going to surge. Well, both units can surge. I'll do these guys first, and then they're going to run away. These guys are going to kind of form a defensive line. So let's sort that out. Okay, so that is a surge move, and I've tried to move those Bondi back as far as possible so that it's more difficult for the Thanes to finish them off. And it's now moving into the turn 5 of the Saxons now to kind of claw back victory. I think these Thanes are going to have to try to do a march move before they declare a charge on these Bondi, and if I can do that, then I can kind of turn and get into the flank of them. So I'm going to use the last command point of the army, and the L is going to order them to do a march move. And it is a 5+ to do a march move, unfortunately. But let's see if they can get it. They can. So that's really good. So they're going to march 8 inches. So what I'll do is I'll do that, and then we'll declare charges. Okay, so this is the position after the march. So this unit of Thanes is going to charge that unit of Bondi. The Bondi, unfortunately, can't do anything. So that goes straight in. and then we'll fight that combat. So remembering that this is Harold, so he's captured. So we'll do the throwing weapons first. It's going to be 6, 7. He gets to basically go there. So 6, 7 throwing weapons from the Thanes. Hitting on 4s. No. And then 4 on the Bondi, hitting on 5s. Armor save of a 5. Yeah. So the throwing weapons were completely ineffective. And then we've got 6 Thanes and 2 commanders versus 4 Bondi and 1 army standard. So Thanes first, hitting on 4s for the white dice and 5s for the black dice, but they are re-rolling. Reroll this one. So no armor saves, killing on 4s for the black dice, 3s for the white. So 2 dead. There is a 6 there. Oh, it hits the army standard, so he's going to die on a 5. Sorry, he will stay alive on a 5. So he's actually dead. There's 1 more dead, which actually makes a massive difference. And then there's going to be 4 Bondi, and he gets to fight before he dies. So 4s for him, 5s for them, for nothing. Okay, so the Saxons have definitely won that combat because they killed things and the Vikings actually didn't. It's only 1 momentum. And they're on 8, goes to 9 now. Let's see. Yeah, so that'll be 5 more guys there. There's only 3 left. So that unit is dead. That's going to be a test for the archers as well as the unit of Herdmen up there. So let's do the archers first. They're on a 9. They're fine. The Herdmen on top there are on a 7. They've got 2 captured commanders, so their morale doesn't go up. Their leadership doesn't go up, so a 7. They're fine. So let's do the surge move, like I said. And then let's do the rest of the Saxons movement. Okay, so that's the surge move done. And I've also moved the slingers up there now. So I'm going to shoot in. The slingers are going to shoot those archers in the side. They have moved. So it's going to be hitting on 5s. And because of the range, it's going to be killing on 6s. 2 dead, that's not bad. That is Saxon turn 5 completed. So turn 6 for the Vikings. And they're going to have to move up that hill and be defensive. So these Thanes could charge that unit and actually potentially win the game. We'll see. But that's how it's going to go. So let's go on to that turn 6 and then let's finish the game. Okay, so it's turn 6 and I've gone straight to the movement and completed it because there was no charges. So the Herdmen have taken the hill that the Huskars were originally on at the start of the game. And there's no need to move both the archers and the javelin men because they're out of range at the moment and they can already see the Huskars. So, sorry, the Herdmen in the rear. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot the archers in the shooting phase. 14 attacks now because they lost 2 because the slingers attacked them last turn. Hitting on 5s because of the shields. And I'm doing this because any extra casualties help out in the potential combat that might come up next turn. So 5 hits, saving on 5s. 2 save, killing on 4s because they're in short range. So 1 dead, so that makes a difference. So it is the end of the Viking turn. So that's all they can do for the game. So now it all depends on what's going to happen with this Thane unit here. So let's tidy up those casualties and then go on to that charge. Okay, so the last turn of the game, Saxons, Thanes trying to capture back their Lord, Harold. We can see that the charge distance is 6 inches, so they need to get 2+ to get in. It is up the hill, so it could make a difference whether they win or lose, but they have to do it to try and claw back the win. So 2+ to get in. They just get it. So let's see what happens. Charging up the hill. 7 versus 10, so it's not in their favour, and also they have 2. So I'll put the captured commander to the side here. That is obviously Harold Hydrada. And then we've got the L and the Edwin and Walker there. So throwing weapons first. We've got 7 Thanes hitting on 4s. Really nice, that. 5+ armor save. And then killing on 4s. Nothing. And then we've got 10 back. Hitting on 4s. Okay, really nice. Armor save. That was good as well. Killing on 4s. Oh, that's not good. 6. Okay, so that's going to hit one of the 2 commanders. So 1 to 3, it's the Earl. Yeah, 4+. He's dead. So he dies and 2 Thanes die, which is not good. So they don't get to fight. So now we've got 5 Thanes and Edwin and Walker, which have 2 attacks. Fighting up the hill. So hitting on 4s normally for those. So they hit on 5s and then Edwin and Walker hit on 4s. Re-rolling. That was nice. Really good. Armor save. Again, they're double-handed weapons, so they can't be saved. These are saving on 5s. And then 4s to kill for them, 3s for them. So 3 dead. There's a 6, but all of those commanders up there are captured. That's the Alderman, and then they've got the Harold on the left there. So 3 Herdmen die. And then they've got 10 attacks back, but just 10 Herdmen. Hitting on 4s. Armor save. Hitting on 4s. So 1 dead. I think that's going to tip the balance. So the Thanes charged and killed 3 and have no ranks. And the Vikings killed 4 and have 1 rank, so 5. So they actually win. They don't get the +1 momentum because they didn't charge. So the Thanes have to do a test on 7. 8 goes to 7 for him, goes back to 8. They're fine. So that ends that combat. So we'll do the tidy up, and then all we've got left is the shooting of the slingers into the archers, and then that last combat. But it's not looking good for the Thanes now, so let's see how that goes. Okay, so the last few attacks of the game, we've got the Saxon slingers shooting into the Viking bowmen, hitting on 5s because they moved. That's pretty good actually. Killing on 6s though, so that's 1 dead. So not enough to affect anything, but still a casualty. And then we've got the units fighting here. So 4 Thanes and Edwin and Morcar fighting 7 Huskarls. So Thanes first, hitting on 5s and 4s for the white dice. Nah, that's not going to be enough. 3s to kill. 1 dead. And then Herdman. 6, 7. Keep on calling them Huskarls and Herdman interchangeably, but it's definitely Herdman. Hitting on 4s. And armor save. Hit on 4s. So they lose 1 to 1. The Herdmen actually win the combat. Test at 7 goes to 8. Goes back to 7 because Edwin and Mork are in there. They're fine. And that ends the game. So unfortunately, Edwin and Mork couldn't save their king. So what I'm going to do is I'll tally up the points. This is the situation on the table. So I'll tally up the points, but I would assume that the Vikings have won the battle. But I'll come back to you and we'll have a conclusion of the game. Okay, so I've just tallied up the points for who won and who lost. And first thing I want to say is that it was a fantastic game, very, very close, and it could have gone either way easily at the end of that game. Obviously, it went all the way to turn 6 as well, so that's a good representation of how the game can go one way or another. So, yeah, 38-point difference. And starting with the Vikings, they got 1,786 points. And the Saxons got 1,824 points. So there's a 38-point difference in that. So actually, the Saxons did win the game, and looking through the book, it is a minor victory. That's a difference of 100 points or less for each 1,000 points used in the game. So
It's minor victory to the Saxons. I'm actually quite surprised at that, but there's a few reasons for that. The first reason is that the army standard, the Raven banner, actually got killed in the Viking army, and that gives you an extra 100 points. So that obviously made a bit of a difference, as well as both armies capturing both the enemy commanders. That's an additional 100 points as well. So those 200 points for the Saxons actually helped them out. But on table, I reckon if it was another turn, the Saxons would lose that game. But that's just how the game goes. It was definitely a valiant charge up the hill there, and I think they were lucky to get into that position anyway, because they used that command point to march and finish off that unit of Bondi. What else would I say about the game? I think the Huskarls were unlucky to not do better charging down that hill when they were in reserve. I think their 4+ armour save let them down. But what it does prove is that using shields or taking shields and being defensive in certain situations can actually be much more beneficial. Obviously, the Huskarls hit on freeze and kill on freeze with their double-handed axes, but as a result of them taking those weapons and choices, it means that they're also not at the -1 to hit like most other units are, so they are heavily reliant on that 4+ armour save, and just in this game, unfortunately, it didn't help them out. Great use of command points all round, I think. The Vikings done well to get into the flanks of the Saxons. Obviously, that's the way to try and beat them, but unfortunately, it wasn't their day. So hopefully you all enjoyed this battle report. If you have any comments or questions or any kind of ideas of what to do next, then definitely appreciate you commenting and letting us know. And hopefully you'll join us in the next video. We've been doing them every month, so please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of those videos. But that's obviously up to you. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.